Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about ketosis and constipation. Now, I wish it was real cut and dry that it would always be this one thing, but it's usually a complex thing that could involve multiple things. So I'm just going to go through some of the scenarios that come up. Most people think it's a lack of fiber that causes constipation. That is absolutely not true. In fact, a lot of the fiber that people consume, even from vegetables, it's insoluble, which means it's not digesting, so adding more will actually constipate you more. So if you look at what you did before starting this plan and after, we want to look at the big changes and we want to evaluate each change. And I'm not talking about constipation you had before doing ketosis. That's a whole different situation, which involves probiotics and a bunch of other stuff. I'm talking about after the ketogenic diet, you started getting constipation. What do you do? What do you look at? So we're going to look at the change in vegetable fibers, okay? The microbes live on fiber. They will get overwhelmed easily if you have not adapted these microbes to this new way of eating. So just like keto adaptation, you have to look at the adaptation of the microbes that have to evolve and grow to digest all these fibers, because if they can't digest the fibers, you're going to have this all this cruciferous or kale shake and you're going to bloat, you're going to get gas. If that's happening, then you're going to have to change the vegetables, that's simple, to maybe something like just lettuce, spinach, other types of vegetables, romaine lettuce, something like that, to get your greens. So just definitely look at that. Other people have an issue with certain types of cruciferous, like myself. I can't eat broccoli. It tears me up. It will constipate me. I can do lots of cabbage. Other people cannot do cabbage. They can do broccoli. So you're going to have to test it out. I also recommend fermented vegetables simply because those are much easier to break down, and pickles are good, sauerkraut, kimchi, very, very good. Okay, so we have that, and then we also have, just the fat that you're eating and the protein. In most cases, those two types of macros are easier to digest than the vegetable carbohydrates, believe it or not. But it could be that you're doing too much fat that's plugging up the gallbladder, and that is backing you up. So if we look at just the whole digestive system, you have the ability to digest fats, proteins, carbohydrates, or even fiber, and you want to just check each one of those. So things to adjust are the vegetable, the type of vegetable, maybe too much fat. And the other thing is that when you start a ketogenic diet, you will sometimes lose a lot of water weight, in the process lose a lot of electrolytes. So that's why I always like to add that back in there. I highly recommend the electrolyte powder that I use because it has 1,000 milligrams of potassium, it has magnesium, it has all the electrolytes, it has trace minerals, no sugar. That usually will help the elimination greatly. So even potassium in general is the electrolyte to help with muscle cramps and colon cramping or stagnant colon. So when you have more potassium, it helps facilitate elimination, as well as magnesium. Those two are electrolytes that are really important in elimination. On a very rare occasion, I may have the person drink more water, but typically that's very rare. That's not usually the cause, but it's something to look at. If you're drinking no water, that could be a situation, but it's rare. The other thing is that if you're doing too many nuts, or even some seeds, which it's usually nuts or peanut butter, typically if you're doing raw nuts, you're getting enzyme inhibitors, which means that's going to stop your digestion right there. That could be causing the constipation. So an experiment would be to germinate the nuts, soak them overnight, dry them out in the oven under lower temperatures, and then consume them. And you may find that solves the whole problem. The other thing is just to cut out the nuts for a couple days and see if that gets rid of the constipation, because that could block. And it also has insoluble fibers. So you got the combination of enzyme inhibitors, and then you just can't digest the nuts because of the enzyme inhibitors. And then as far as dairy goes, quite a few people have allergies to milk, sugar, lactose. Okay, so if that's the situation and you're bloating or you're not digesting this cheese that you're consuming, we got to look at that as well. So just kind of experiment. If you have some dairy and you get gas or bloating, then we need to eliminate that at this time. There are types of dairy that are low on lactose. For example, lactose-free cheese, lactose. Usually cheese has very low amounts of lactose because the microbes consume that sugar, and then they basically, you get more of a protein than you would get if you had actual milk or yogurt. Casein is the protein in dairy, which that's really high in hard cheeses, and it's also lower in soft cheeses. It's higher in Greek yogurt. So, you know, if you're consuming too much of that protein, that could back people up as well, back you up. So you might want to try goat's cheese or sheep cheese, which people can digest that much better than actually cheese from cows. So you might want to try that as well. So these are just things to look at in your search to find a solution for constipation. Put your comments below. Hi guys, hey listen, I created a pretty amazing evaluation quiz down below that actually analyzes your symptoms to find the cause, the root cause of all of your symptoms, the most likely cause. So take the quiz now and we'll send you a report.